Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode. And oh, wow, it's a really good start, huh? Tripping over the tongue. Welcome to another episode of Random Encounters, where I do improv cartooning. Use random encounter tables like you find in most tabletop role playing games, and I use them to pick subjects and situations, and then I draw them, all for our mutual entertainment. And tonight is a special night. Tonight we are having a Gen Con special. Gen Con is the big tabletop game industry convention. Happens every year, late July, early August in Indianapolis, and it's happening right now. Today was day one of Gen Con, and as you can see, because I'm here, I'm not there. A lot of my friends are. A lot of my friends and colleagues are all gathered in Indianapolis, and if any of them are tuning in there, what the heck are you doing? Go out and have some fun, but thanks. In the meanwhile, I'm here holding down the fort. Um, you know, half wishing I was in Indianapolis. It's a tough slog to go to Gen Con these days. For me, it's expensive, it's hot, but I sure do miss seeing my friends and seeing what's going on in the industry, and I follow it very closely. I love Gen Con, and I look forward to maybe next year, whatever the year I can go back. Next year I can go back again. In the meanwhile, I'm going to do a Gen Con themed show tonight. So I'm going to just adjust things here on my little iPad. See, I do all this on the iPad Pro using the Procreate app and the Apple Pencil. None of this is sponsored, though I'm open to that. If anyone wants to talk to me about sponsorship, you know where to find me. In the meanwhile, let's get started. What are we waiting for? I don't know. I will uh, reach out to those of you who are watching and perhaps ask you for some input on what these are. But we'll start with what's on the encounter tables. Oh boy, yes, clearly the weather's getting to me. So we'll start. Let me just pull it up here, and here we go. These are our encounter tables for tonight. Now the who's are all general D&D characters, and the what's are all things that happen at Gen Con. Hello, Roger. Thank you for joining me, man. Always good to see you. And I'm glad. You know what? I'm so glad you're drawing along with me, Roger. But I've never known you not to be drawing along with anyone, which is one of the things I love about you, man. All right, so here we go. This is what we're looking at, and we're going to go over to our die roller, and we're going to pick us a who and pick us a what. Let's start with the who. We're going to go once, twice, and third time is a charm for three. Number three. Who's number three on the who? Number three is an orc. Oh, that's very Dungeons and Dragons. That's very fantasy specific. And let's see what is the orc doing. Once, twice, third time, five. Orc is at the charity auction. So, for those of you who have not been to Gen Con, one of the big events that goes on there's a big auction that percentage of all the funds raised go to charity, but people will come in there and bring their um, old games and gaming products and gaming related and just kind of general nerd related stuff that they have uh, and they want to get rid of. And there's a big 3 or 4 day auction that goes on, some people go to Gen Con just to do that. So, hello, Lizard Breath. Thank you for dropping in. Tune in whenever you can. Hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're having fun. Hey, Lido, glad to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so our first number here, for those of us who are turning in late, we've got an orc at the Gen Con charity auction. And so I'm going to zoom in a little here, and we're going to start drawing. Okay, so I've already set that a little too far off. I want it to be. And we're going to have some people here in the audience along with our orc. Uh, uh, Over the years, charity auction, like I say, is some people go to the show just for that, and it's got its own, you know, as with anything, it's got its own personalities. I'm going to draw here. One of the personalities is a guy I used to work for named Harold Johnson. And he's known for wearing a hat and call him Wisconsin Johnson. And so I think we'll have him be the auctioneer that's dealing with this orc. Okay. Maybe, you know what? I may want to reverse this whole thing. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to flip horizontal. I think I want to put our auctioneer and everything on that side. Or orc on this side. All right. That's good because I've got a gag that I've figured out that I want to do. The only thing that needs to change there is the words are now backwards. Not that it matters much, but all right. There we go. And I'm not going to write my text in just now, so you can see it later. We'll focus on the drawings. Up here, come to the lines layer. So and we're going to put Harold's hat on his head. Harold, if you're tuning in here, this is in no way a threat to you. I love you, man. I always have. Harold was my boss when I worked at, when I first got to work at TSR, the company that created Dungeons and Dragons. And he, not only is he famous for being a big part of uh, uh, the auction here at Gen Con, Harold has a long and storied history in D&D and the development of role-playing games. He was one of the creators of Dragonlance. He wrote some very influential early D&D adventures. He uh, ran the RPGA and the Gen Con presence for a number of years. Harold is one of those big time people in gaming history. People have had a lot more influence than their fame. Well, they deserve. What I'm really saying is they deserve to be better known than they are. Harold's should be a one of those people that should be a household name or a very familiar name to D&D fans around the world, and you know that's just how it goes. There's always a lot more people. The spotlight shines on a few particular people, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the people that it shines on. The Gary Gygaxes, or when it comes to Dragonlance, the Weiss and Hickmans and Jeff Grubbs and the other people who were involved and had and in many cases led. They were the people that had the prime uh, influence, but there are a lot of other people that did a lot of important work. That the gaming industry and a lot of the particular games and worlds and stories that we love would not exist without um, their input. And like I say, Harold is definitely one of those people. It's a charity auction. All right, so it's on to the charity auction part. So I haven't really touched the orc yet. Let's get over to the orc. All right. About to make that eyebrow and fill it in black, but I realize that I've left the rest of the hair uncolored too, so I probably want to make sure that I get that hair to match the eyebrows to match whatever the rest of the hair turns out to be. Alright, so we've got an orc here. We're going to give him a spiky shoulder pad. And sword coming up in Harold's face. And we'll have some other people here in the audience. Let's get a little smaller brush here so I can draw something in the background. Oh, for some reason that jumped down. See, I can very quickly just kind of put in these shapes that are supposed to be other folks in the crowd. Okay. So what's the deal here? What's the dealio? Hello, Edmund. Good morning to you, wherever you are in this fine world. Uh, we've got um, what's a good game? It's a good game to put in here. There's a lot of the board games that get sold are um, box board. A lot of the games that get sold at the auction are box board games from the '60s and '70s, and uh, they are more valuable if they are still whole. If they haven't been, they're still shrink wrapped, or they are unpunched. I'm trying to think of a good name of a board game that often shows up or is often looked for um, at these auctions. Advanced Squad Leader, we're going to call it, and say. Okay. And original Squad Leader Unpunched No, that's not working out so great. Let's change that around. Let's see. Original ESL. Sold. And I get to stay. Unquote. There we go. That's the gag. Turn that off. And we come in and add some quick colors. That took a little longer than I had expected, but worth it, I think. Switch over to my favorite little gloaming pen, which allows me to get that kind of uh, marker or crayon-ish effect on these. And we'll put in the fork. With hair and skin greenish all around. See, now I'm glad I didn't put that color in the eyebrows black, because I think it looks better here with the green. Just quick, get some quick colors in here. There we go. We're looking good. Stick my little stand there at the bottom. And we've got an original ASL sold. Guess I probably should have put a price in there, huh? Let's see. Let's get back in there and maybe just. Sold. For the price of me remaining unpunched. The original ASL sold for the price of me remaining unpunched. There we go. That's a good way to pull that gag. Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. Drawing number 1 done. An orc at the charity auction. An original ASL sold for the price of me remaining unpunched. What a steal. What a steal. All right, there we go. That's drawing number 1. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Boop. Good. Let's come back to the tables, and I'm going to take a pause here for a second, get a drink. Hope everyone out there is doing good. If you're have any of you ever been to Gen Con? If you've been to Gen Con, drop a quick comment down in the comment section. I'd love to know. Of course, I went many years. I haven't been in 3 or 4 years, but I went for dozens of years in a row. And if you haven't been, have you been to any other conventions? What's the best convention you've ever been to? If you're watching this on replay, drop that in the comment. I'd be very curious. I'm always looking for good shows to go to. So yeah, what's the best convention you've ever been to? And if it was Gen Con, which year was your favorite? All right, let's continue here and get another drawing. Wow, I don't know why. It sure seems like you guys are not seeing what's going on my pad. It stopped showing you that. I was so busy looking at what I was drawing, I didn't see what you were seeing. All right, let's come back again and see if we can. Let's see now. There, that's what you missed. I'm sorry. That stopped right in the middle. For some reason, it stopped showing you what I was doing. Technology. This one, it also happens when you're a one-man show, right? Something goes wrong. If I don't see it right away, and no one can tell me in the no one can tell me in the chat, then I don't know. Oh my God, I've got to fix something. Hey, John, thanks for showing up. I hope that you and the girls are at least mildly amused. I will try to be at least mildly amusing. Oh, so here's another thing I need to do. I'd like to go back in the colors, so the colors here are fine. I like what I picked, but it's all very strong. It's very saturated. So I go in and I drop the opacity down about 20%, 25%. And so it goes from that super strong color down to something that just feels a little friendlier on the eyes. All right, so we're done there. We're going to come and we're going to do two next. Uh, but first, we're going to choose another subject. Roger says Lilac City in Spokane. Lilac City, I've never been, though I hear it's a terrific show. I know that Mark Monlock's a friend, mutual friend of Rogers and mine here in the greater Seattle Tacoma area, goes every year and always has great things to say about Lilac City uh, in Spokane. And I hope to get there maybe next year. All right, so let's go here. Let's roll. We'll find a new Who. So once, twice, third time is a charm, and three. Didn't we just have three? Wasn't that just the orc was number three? All right, so yeah, you guys start thinking about who you might like to see me draw. I don't want to redraw the orc. Let's see what's our what though. Once, twice, third time is a six. And that means it's the costume contest. So, who should we have in the costume contest? Now, we could pick one of these characters here in the Who, or one from the bonus board, which is often where I go to when we get a repeat there. Or, if you guys have an idea of what kind of character, what kind of creature you'd like to see, drop it into the chat right now. I'm going to ponder for a second here. We're going to go to the costume contest. Now, let's say these are all things that are very popular at Gen Con. Costume contest is a long-standing tradition. It's been going for 30, 40 years, and maybe since the earliest of the, well, maybe not the very first ones, but once Gen Con started getting big, the costume contest. It was into cosplay before cosplay was a word. And I have helped served as an MC, and I have been a judge at costume contests. They're terrific. You get some really great costumes. This, like I say, the Gen Con costume contest predates the the term and the idea of cosplay. It it was the costume contest. The Cyclops in the female costume, Roger suggests. Abby is in Harry Potter camp this week. Can we do some wizards? You know what? We could have someone dressed as Harry Potter. That could be their cosplay. Why don't we do? Why don't we split the two? Roger asks for the Cyclops. John wants Harry Potter. Let's make that happen. So let's come here to the sketch layer again. Make sure I have my brushes on what I need them to be, and we're going to have we're going to have a Cyclops in Harry Potter as Harry Potter in the costume contest. Okay. So we're going to start Cyclops. Got a big head, one big eye. That much we know. It's also, let's make him a little smaller so I can zoom in here. He's also got a big let's see now. So what do we need for Harry Potter? We gotta have a cloak. He's gotta be wearing a cloak. Um, without a wand. Clearly. Can't be Harry Potter without a wand. And I just don't get Harry Potter. Well, it's one of the things that I certainly have observed over my career is that there are things that people love, no matter what it is. There are people that love it and people that just don't get it. And that's okay. Not everything is for everyone, and sometimes you just don't, you don't see what other people see in a thing, and sometimes it's a little frustrating when you love something and other people don't get it. But I suppose it's probably equally frustrating when everyone else, a huge number of people, are into something and you just don't understand it. So I feel it. Has a hat. Abby says a hat too. Okay, so like a sorting hat? Or just like a wizard hat. Wizard hat. Like that. Okay. Weird thing, I guess one of the weird things for this is Harry Potter's got glasses and the Cyclops only has one eye. But that's alright. It's a cosplay. It can. Alright, so I'm trying to think up a gag beyond this. I'm not sure that I need much more of a gag than a Cyclops in Harry Potter gear. All right, so as I probably have you've heard me say before, or many of you have heard me say before, the key when you're drawing is to uh, start putting down lines that you feel confident in. And we've got a head for our Cyclops. Sean says give him a monocle. Now, a monocle makes a lot of sense, but I'll tell you the truth. I'm going to avoid it here because it's a little hard to pull off. And I'll pull in here and kind of show you why, right? We've got our Cyclops with one eye, right? Got one big eye and a nose. And if I were to, I'm going to add another layer here so I can do some drawing and show you something. I'm going to do this in green. So if I were to put a monocle on him, would it go there above his nose? And if so, how do you tell the difference between that and the eye? And if I put it over here, I suppose I could just put it off to one side. But, I mean, now suddenly maybe I'm thinking too much about this because it's like, well, if I give him a monocle like that, it wouldn't really do him any good because it's not actually in front of his eye. Um, but you know what? I do like that idea more than the glasses. So I'm going to say good call, and I'm going to reverse my previous decision. It's another beautiful part about doing uh, improv cartooning. All right, and we're going to come over here, and he'll have a monocle. And we got a big old meaty hand there for our Cyclops. And sandals like a proper Cyclops. And let's turn off that sketch layer so we can look at this and see where we might want to add a couple of extra lines in just to make everything read well. All right, and now let's add some colors to this. Come once again, I think it's a good greenish skin for our Cyclops. And everyone at Hogwarts seems to wear some kind of bluish, blue schemed clothing, although we'll gonna go for purple for the undergarment, the main robe. Right, now maybe we'll go for that dark blue again. There we go. And then, of course, we've got to come back because it may look like I've forgotten, but I haven't. I've got to come back and add in a lightning bolt scar up there. Otherwise, you're not really Harry Potter, are you? Uh, Roger's drawing your version of a monocle, uh, uh, Cyclops. Awesome. Let's add just a little bit of hints of shadows in here, just to give them a little more bigger feel. I think we'll also kind of give them a pale yellow eye. Like that. There we go. And I think I want to just give him a little me, I'm in Gryffindor. Yeah, you know what? It's I hear you. I often find myself yelling at the screen too. That's okay, girls. Sorry, I can't hear you. But you know what? That means that we're having fun. Everyone's really into what's going on. So I'm just gonna drop the colors just 10%, not quite as much as last time. And I'll stick a little sand down there. And we will have a completed uh, Cyclops at the costume contest as Harry Potter. I think it's spelled. Is it Gryffindor with two I's and not an E? Oh well, he's a Cyclops. He doesn't know. All right, so there we go. That's a second drawing. Let's do one more, and we'll call it a night. So we're going to come back here to our random selection tables, and we're going to roll the dice again. Once, twice, third time is the charm. We got one. Our who is a one, and that means it's a we just did the Cyclops. The dice were just a half step behind you. You know, we'll call that good. The dice are catching up with you. So we'll roll it again. Come on. Once, twice, third time, five. What's a five? Five is a dragon. Okay, that'll be fun. What is our dragon doing, though, at Gen Con? Once, twice, third time is a four. The dragon is at Gen Con, and he's in the exhibit hall, which, is a fine place to be. The exhibit hall is where all of the game companies and people who make costumes, all the vendors, everyone has, it fills up the entire exhibit hall at the Indianapolis um, uh, Convention Center. Okay, John, thank you and the girls for stopping in. I'm glad you did. I hope you have a good drive and a pleasant sleep. Um, I really appreciate you stopping in, and if you get a chance in the future, come on back and throw more ideas at me. I love it. I love it. All right, so we're going to come up here to round 3. Sketch. We're going to turn off the tables. We're going to have a dragon in the exhibition hall. All right, so one of the things about the exhibition hall is it is so crowded. It's huge. There are people all over the place, companies all over the place. Uh, uh, there's so much there that you just can't find anything. Sometimes you spend more time trying to get from place to place, trying to find a thing you know is there, but you walk past it because it's surrounded by uh, customers and people who are going to other things. This would be a lot of fun to draw again, also, if I had more time. And you always find yourself in the exhibit hall running around um, trying to get somewhere right before the exhibit hall closes. And that's what I'm going to be drawing here. So let's come up here to our line section. The dragon has to have a name badge. It's okay. Well, let's. It seems like a detail that gets added later, but that's a good one. Someone was looking at one of the drawings I did a couple of weeks ago with a dragon in it, and I didn't put wings on the dragon, and they said, "Well, that's clearly not a dragon." That's a little mean. I know the person, so I'm making fun of them. So I'm making sure that we got wings this time, okay? I think we're going to have to go very quickly with these people here. I want a whole bunch of people, and I don't want to spend the next hour drawing this drawing. This is supposed to be a quick draw. I don't think we're getting a badge on this dragon. No, we don't need a pointy. I was going to give him a very pointy tail, but he doesn't need that. Alright, sorry I stopped talking, but I'm kind of like all the people in this. I'm trying to get somewhere. Alright, I think that's going pretty good. And alright. So we're gonna have the PA be saying the exhibit hall will close in 10 minutes. And the dragon's gonna say, "Come on, people." I gotta get to the 1800 aisle. Go, turn off the sketch layer. Alright, so let's do some quick coloring in here. And I think that in the past I've gone out of my way to not do red dragons just because everyone does red dragons, but in this case, the dragon's going to be red. Give him a purple tongue, I think. Now I'm going to take a little time to make sure that I make our number of people at Gen Con a little more representative of a cross section of the people who are really at Gen Con. Instead of going with all the pinky pink flesh like I usually do out of laziness. Start picking colors at random. Oof, that's way too purple. I think I want to come back into the lines layer here and show that our dragon is as everyone is hustling around. Oop, yeah, wrong layer. And wrong brush. Wrong everything. Look, I lost some of my lines there. That'll happen sometimes when you're drawing digitally. There we go. Dragon in the exhibit hall. Come on, people, I gotta get to the 1800 aisle. Alright, we're going to come here again. We're going to drop the opacity on that down a bit. Only 10 or 15%, maybe just 10. There we go. And we've got Dragon at the exhibit hall. You know what? No, we're not done. We're not quite done. We got to come back in and add a little extra. I didn't add the shading that I did on a couple of the others. Just to give it that little extra oomph. You don't need to give it to all the old people there, but give it to the dragon. That'll be a nice bonus. There we go. Look at that. Look, it just makes such a nice little difference. And we got a dragon at the exhibit hall. Do tell where posts our draws you do alongside you. Yeah. So Roger makes a good point. If you have done drawings to go along with this, and I hope that you have, and if you haven't right now, maybe you think about it, do some later. You can go over to my my Facebook site is the best place to drop those, or I don't have a link here for this. There's a page for the Random Encounters uh, series on Facebook. That's a good place to send it. If you want to send it to me in a message on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram, I am at Stanex on all of those. No, that's not what I'm looking for. On all of those um, sites. Why can't I find what I'm looking for here? So it's Instagram at Stanex, at STANNX. That's my username on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And so you can drop them to me there, and I will try to show them at the next time we all get together. I'll share some of your drawings if I have any there too. So yeah, let's call this a good. Let's call this good for our Gen Con show. We had, I'm going to take this down for a second. We had 3 Gen Con related drawings here. We had, of course, a dragon in the exhibit hall. And we had a Cyclops in the costume contest, going as Harry Potter. And we had an orc at the charity auction, getting a real steal. So yeah, so that's where we are. That's what we got. That is gonna be about it. Thank you everyone for joining in for another hour plus of random encounters of improv cartooning. I have a lot of fun doing this. I lose track of time. You can tell that I have fun because of how quickly I just lose track of time. I will be back again next Thursday with another hour of improv cartooning, back to probably something more generally summer themed rather than Gen Con themed. And in the meanwhile, those of you who are interested in Gen Con type things, if you look at my, again, either YouTube channel or my Facebook feed, on Sunday, I'm going to be doing an Ask Me Anything uh, show with my good friend Owen K.C. Stevens, who is a great game designer. We've worked together on a lot of different things over the years, and we have a tradition when we're at Gen Con of holding court, of just kind of having an open event in the. We go to the lobby of one of the uh, hotels where lots of people are passing through, and we just kind of grab a seat, and anyone who wants to can come up and hang out with us and ask questions or just kind of say hi, take a load off. He and I both know a lot of people, so while we're sitting there, we invariably pull other guests of the show and relatively famous people from the world of games and game design to stop in and say hi, and that often happens at our online version too. So if you're interested, check my Facebook or my YouTube channel. It's called Convo on the Couch is the name of the event, and it will be Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is just about the time Gen Con is wrapping up. So while everyone in Indianapolis is closing down, we will be having what may be the last Gen Con event of 2023. So I hope you all can join us. Till then, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Roger and John and Edmund and Liz and everyone else who popped in and visited, whether you said anything or not. I very much appreciate you being here. And I will be back next week with more improv cartooning. So until then, take care, everyone.